Hello and welcome to Virtual Vines. I'm Dan Mackey with the Loaded Grape. And let me get my glasses on here. We're doing a little Italiano. It's Amore.
Buonasera from two guys, the good fellas, the good guys.
Yeah.
How many cliches can we fit in one show? The answer at the end of the show.
We're gonna get a lot of cliches in tonight. So it's Amore. It is all about Italian wines. We're gonna hit on 6 regions out of the 20 regions of Italy,
Mambo Italiano.
Picking what they're known for in that region and sharing it with you. And we have it's just going to be a incredible show.
Yeah.
TC, just give a little, as I try to get Vanna up on camera, just give a little rundown of kind of what we're going to expect tonight, and then I'll do a little additional stuff as well.
Well, one thing we can say for the folks that are the Virtual Vine people, the Loaded Grape shoppers, you certainly have your Francophiles. People love Spain and California, but I think pound for pound, Italy just seems to be that area that you guys just sell so well in the shop, whether it be Prosecco, whether it be nice white wine, whether it be ageable Amarone for that collector, or for that just everyday Sangiovese kind of drinker, right?
Italian
well, and you can find so many great wines in Italy, and the reason being, a couple, if you want to talk about a few like little tidbits or the cliff notes, as it were, Italy, just about every year, I guess, depending on which graph you showed, makes more wine than any other country in the world. Sometimes France does, sometimes Italy does, at about 2 million. On the Apennine Mountains.
Sorry. This is just not gonna work for us tonight without an echo.
It's fine.
Oh, did I just lose us all?
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
You see us?
They can see us, but they can see us now.
Okay,
they can hear us now.
Okay.
I don't know what is going on.
He's pushing buttons over here like a lab rat that's had too much caffeine. I don't know what's going on with you, man. Are you okay tonight?
We are.
Need some wine? Do I need to go ahead and pour you some wine real quick?
I need wine. I need wine. I need wine quick.
My
it's
guy.
So frustrating.
It's okay. It's okay, my guy. We got wine.
We got wine.
We got a little wine tonight.
I'm having a case of the Mondays.
Just as I was talking about, and kind of a couple fun things. And I won't touch on it all right now. I'll kind of interweave some of these factoids for you nerds out there that want to know about such things. But another first for Italy, you think about 750 milliliter bottles. Now, it seems, have you ever thought to yourself, why 750 milliliter, right? Why not 1.2 liter? Why not 1 liter, right? 750 milliliter, believe it or not, is about the amount the average glass blower lung has in terms of blowing a bottle.
Oh, wow.
So that is why, and that came from Italiano.
Italiano.
So I know. So I mean, I'm telling you, it's going to keep popping up. So you guys.
So you're saying that Italian glass blowers are full of a lot of hot air.
Full of a lot of hot air. Well, that's what
so much hot air.
Always so much hot air. I mean, all my great Italian friends, they will never say Danny or TC's had or is drunk, they'll say Danny or TC needs to eat more food. You know, that's what they'll say. You know, so just manja, right? So tonight, guys, we're going to touch on 3 main areas of Italy that you all know about, have heard about, probably see a lot in not only the wine shops but restaurant lists. But also, we're going to, you know, we feel like with Italy, over 2,000 grapes grown there, about 400 grown commercially, which is way more than any other country in the world. I mean, think about that, guys. You know, 400 grapes grown commercially, which means, you know, there are obviously levels of, you know, they have to grow a certain amount to make it sort of quote unquote commercial. But just the level of grapes, and the reason being is because the way Italy was put together, you know, about 150 or so years ago, you know, you basically had colloquial towns and little fiefdoms and things like that. And even today, you kind of have people that are very Siciliana first or very Toscana first, right? And even you have smaller little countries within there as well, like Sorrento and even Vatican City, which, again, Tanya, trivia question. So Italy actually consumes, and again, depending on the chart that you read, my information maybe 1 or 2 years dated, Italy consumes more wine per capita than any other country in the world at 13 gallons per person. Now, for those of you that wanting to know, America's about 3 gallons. I know. We need to up those averages. Those are rookie numbers. Matthew McConaughey would say those are rookie numbers. Those are rookie numbers. Any guesses as to the country that is number 1 at 16 gallons per person average? And I'll give you a hint. It is in Europe. And anybody that maybe is watching right now, maybe it's, where's the Jeopardy? Where's my Jeopardy theme music? Yeah. So I'll go ahead and cut this.
Wait, hold on. We gotta give people a chance.
I gotta give them a chance.
You gotta give them a chance because you understand when we say it takes about it's on a 15-second delay from when we say something to when they hear it. So you gotta.
I knew that.
Yeah. So you gotta give them time. So put your answers in.
Yeah. So we're gonna country that drinks per capita per person more wine than any other country on the planet.
So
again,
it's not a city in Italy. It's you said it's
a country. It's actually a country. It's a country. It's actually a country. And again, to give you a hint, it actually is in Europa. So you don't have to think it's outside.
Yeah. Of Europe. So it's in Europe. So throw in your guesses right now.
I think it's France.
Tanya thinks France. Anybody taking France? What do you think, Danny?
I am going to go with I'm going to go with Spain.
Going with Spain. I mean, both great answers. You know, Spain has more acres planted. France, they actually in some years produce as much, but actually we have the right. We have the right.
We have a Germany. Yeah,
we have Germany there. We have Germany.
We have some Spain.
They smoke cigarettes and drink wine. Yeah.
So they have to have more time to drink.
That is true. That is true. And I think the work weeks, you know, I mean, I want to get that 35-hour work week as well. I mean, that's you know, give me some of that. I'll put some mayonnaise on my French fries. But hey, but Vatican City, guys, Vatican City, which is a country.
Oh, it is its own country.
It is a country. It is a country.
Wow,
Vatican
Italians.
City. So Vatican City, which is only about 1,000 or so people, which actually has their own ATM. Which I've always asked myself, who the hell are the ones that has? I mean, that's a very exclusive bank to have a bank. I know that. But that check does cash. I know that. If you've ever seen the Vatican City, right? But Vatican City at about 16 gallons per person, which is in Italy, which is in Rome.
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
16 gallons.
16
That's
gallons
a
per
lot.
person.
That's a lot of confessing.
Yes, that is. Well, or listen to people confessing.
or after you confess, you're like, just keep on giving me the bottles.
I mean, of all those things of having to read, write, or teach, or whatever you have to do as your job, I mean, what sounds the best? You know, communion, drinking a little bit of wine, enjoying the labor of that, and certainly Italy is that. So again, guys, we're going to start off our journey tonight, and we're going to refer to the boot a lot, right? Because that is Italy. Just to give you, and I know Danny will find a map and throw it up there for you. I'm
going to go a couple things. So welcome to Amore. Again, I'm going to skip through these two really quick. Okay. Galentine's Day is coming up on Saturday, February 13th. It's a 2-hour time slot, so it's 12 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8. $10 get you a flight of 4 wines. Wine club members at $8, and non-wine club members at $10. Spaces kind of filling up, so if you want to do it, hop on and do that. Pick a time slot tonight. Also, Rombauer virtual tasting coming up on the 25th, starting at 7:30. 7:30. We realized that I initially had 6:30, and that was a screw up because Andy might be having a baby, and we might not have said people to work the shop. So we had to we pushed it back an hour. $25 for a tasting kit of 5 wines. $22 if you're in the wine club. We'll give you the Zoom link. And again, it's going to be the Sauvignon Blanc, the Chardonnay, the Zinfandel, the Merlot, and the Cabernet. And we have Said it wrong.
Charlotte.
From Ron Bauer joining us. So going to be a lot of fun. Also, if you're shopping and needing some Chardonnay, 20% off with coupon code Chard20 tonight online. So if you need some Chardonnay, shop that area. Use that coupon
and I was going to
code.
say, in Rum Bauer, synonymous is Chardonnay. I've talked to Danny. They're on a little bit of a supply issue. We're getting some, but if you guys, I'm going to say that, are going to join Rum Bauer and just go, you know what, guys, everything was good, but I'm ride or die Rum Bauer Chardonnay. Go ahead and tell Danny. Let him know. We're already taking names. We're going to probably divvy out a few bottles, but we have to stretch out allocation, as it were. So let them know. So anyway, back to
Italy. So stuff
Mambo Italiano. Back to it. Yeah.
So 20 regions, 330 DOCs, 350 common grape varieties. Now, with that being said, let's go over some things you might see on labels tonight. So we have DOCG.
Sure.
We have DOC.
Sure.
And I think those are the two on the sense that, and then we have
IGT, as it were,
IGT,
which is kind of that another label. And then again, DOC and DOCG are self-regulating things. They're not really a stamp of quality per se, although all these wines we think are great. DOC was, it's funny, it was started in the 60s at a time when a lot of that new generation was trying to go against the grain, and kind of, the Super Tuscans of the world were really coming along and going, well, okay, I can't get that strip to say DOCG, we're not certified. Okay, these old vines, Sangiovese and things like that. So we can actually, we have to find that farm status. So what's great about Italy, as Danny, you can see that on the map there, as I said, about 400 grapes grown on a commercial level. Not talking about the 2,000 grapes that are grown just there natively, which is just, it would take a lifetime just to understand Italy and how that goes. And frankly, as I said, surrounded by 4 seas there, which is not blotted out for those of you geographically challenged. I know sometimes when you take Texas away, they go, "Is that not the ocean?" I'm like, "No, we just took Mexico away." So that is the 4 seas aforementioned around there. And you think about up the middle, right there, all the way through the middle of the boot is the mountain range. And from there, I read something not too long ago about 80% of all Italy in terms of roads and the diurnal shifts and things like that are either mountains or foothills. So you think, and we talk about on the show at nauseum about mountain wine, foothill wine, things like that, terraced. And again, it almost seems to be, if there was one place on earth that was just made for growing wine, whether people wanted to grow it or not, it would be, or growing vines, and for quality wine, it would be in Italy. So anyway, we're going to start our journey in Abruzzo. And Abruzzo is honestly known for Montepulciano. And to talk a little bit about Italy, as we go, and as Danny said, and that was kind of my first, I love that. Thank you, Danny. And as a segue, I meant to say, when you talking about the DOCs and stuff like that, one confusing thing for the customer, and I feel you guys, because some wines we have tonight are named after just the varietal. We have some wines named after just the town in which they're from, and we have some wines like this that are named after the varietal and the town. Hence Trebbiano d'Abruzzo, just like Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. So this is the queen to Montepulciano's king, as it were. And this is a beautiful wine, guys. Yes, light straw color. I get this like lemon and orange blossom kind of a thing off of it. A little bit of white flower. So I'm calling on all you, Pinot Gris drinkers from Willamette or Alsace, all you just, Chardonnay drinkers that, minimal oak or unoaked Chardonnay drinkers will love it. The Sauv Blanc drinkers also love it, although it's not that grapefruit bomb like New Zealand drinkers, but I think Sauv Blanc drinkers like it. Vanna, what do you think about this wine? It goes down too smoothly, is what it is.
It literally does. I was just noticing, Danny's already refilled his glass. This is actually my second.
It's
little
just
glass.
Oh god, and this is that.
And I was just about to totally back, and I'm like, you need to calm down.
Yeah, we got 5 more wines after this, so.
I want to keep drinking this.
This is really, really nice. We did do a Trebbiano, back in March, April time frame. So it's been a while since we've done one on a virtual vine. Now this one, again, I'm going to go back to the map. We're kind of more mountain range and a little bit of ocean as well.
You have the Adriatic to the east, Adriatic to the east, and then you have the Apennine, which is the mountains to the west, right there. And then again, as I was going to say, but Danny threw the map up there. I say it's the behind the knee, as the part of the leg and where it buckles, basically. So, buckles the good way, right? Buckles the right way. But yeah, Trebbiano
there's the buckle. There's
the buckle.
There's the buckle in the name.
The buckle. There's the buckle.
Yeah, down before you get to the boot.
Did that guy say buckle? He's on his first one. What's going on over here?
You know,
What's going on
over
over
crazy night.
It's going to be crazy.
There's a close-up of the mountain range.
Oh, yeah,
and some
perfect.
more of the vineyards. And
what's great about Fontini, and I would say their 92nd elevator pitch would be great value wines with exceptional quality that can be consumed at all occasions. I mean, that's really Fontini in a nutshell. They're not these wines that you're ever going to pay 50, 40, or even $30 for. There are wines that are just great. Hey, Danny, I'm trying to put together a mixed case, maybe 6 bottles. I've already got 3 that I know I want. What's something I can put in there? This is easily something I would always put in there, even for people that are going to do mostly reds. I think
this is so refreshing.
Look at that price. Unbelievable. Yeah.
And then, of course, the price is stupid, but you definitely want to grab one of these or two because it's just fantastic.
It will go down fast. I mean, in addition to being the screw cap, which is Danny's favorite, this is just a super easy, super drinkable, quaffable wine. It has DOC status, but again, sometimes you can pay for that depending on where it's at. But this is a DOC wine.
Let's see how many veterans of Virtual Vines are on there. What is the actual term for the screw cap? I say it every week.
Oh yeah, so there we go.
Go ahead, throw that in the comments. And when you come and pick up your wine, I will the first one to get it right. We'll get some chocolate in since it's Valentine's Day in their bag. So there you go. So throw it in there. What is the screw cap called? What's the official term? So
and get to be Danny's unofficial because he has an official Valentine's. You can be his
unofficial Valentine's,
male or female. It's 2021. It's okay.
So, but yeah, this great price deal here. $15 plus your club level discounts at checkout. Head over to loadedgrape.com. Right there on the homepage is all the wines for tonight. Definitely throw this in your cart. It's so
well and interesting.
So
and again, another little nerd out factoid for you guys before we move on to the next wine. Trebbiano, interestingly enough, is also grown quite a bit in France under the name Uni Blanc. I think you guys may have had some Uni Blancs. Usually blended in with Colombelle, which, depending on whether you're in south of Bordeaux, which is that Gascon region, or north of Bordeaux, which is actually where they make cognac, Trebbiano, or in this case, or Uni Blanc, or in this case, Trebbiano, is actually the grape that they make cognac. So for any of you friends that love spirits or want to live that kind of, again, this is a wine that you can live that white tablecloth. I mean, Danny has got it, and at some point we'll probably pan over. And amazing, this guy doesn't do charcuterie. This guy does charcuterie, this isn't just this isn't like a Ritz cracker and like some string cheese over here. This guy, he's got what is that, like a wonton Danish? I don't even know what that is. He's got stuff I don't even know what it is.
So I made a little.
You did?
Well, Tanya made them. It's my recipe. So it's just a little brie with a little bit of cranberry sauce on a croissant. Croissant. Definitely get one of those. But very, very good. And I will pan over somehow, some way to show you the board. But yeah, it's. I did put we figured we're doing all these Italian wines. We weren't going to do dinner. We'd just do the adult Lunchables.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and again, when you think about the Mediterranean diet, it's, a little bit of bread, a little bit of cheese, some wine, a little bit of olive oil or olives. That's all you need, guys.
All right, let's move on.
Continue on our journey. We're going to do the Valpolicella Ripasso, the Luigi Righetti.
Ooh, why TC starts pouring, I'm going to tell you why I'm so excited about this. Now, you might remember a couple of virtual vines ago, that we did the Amorone from Luigi Righetti. This is a Ripasso. Now, what they do here is they take that Corvina grape that they press for the Amorone. That first pressing juice goes into the Amorone. They press it one more time, and they take that and they mix in a couple of other grapes juice, and they make this Ripasso. So mostly, let's say a little bit of the Corvina, and then you can get
Rondinella.
Rondinella.
These guys make some great Amarones, and for those of you that know, I think it was maybe June, July, we did an Amarone that was just, you couldn't touch it. In terms of price point by $4 or $5, maybe $10 in the shop at the time. And they're just known for over delivering in terms of quality. So Luigi Righetti, they're based in Valpolicella, which is in the Veneto. And really known for in Valpolicella, I would say there's really two different styles. You have the Amarone, which are dried wines that are certainly made for aging and are big and bold and usually in high alcohol. And then you have on the lower, I won't say lower tier as in bad, but just lower tier in terms of low alcohol, easier to consume, usually cheaper in price, the Valpolicella Superiores, which is like the Tomasi Raphael. Beautiful wine, light, drinkable, super easy drinking wine. So the middle ground of those two things, I think, would really be the Ripasso or a Ripasso. And as Danny said, they take those grapes and Luigi Regatta, they try to do one of the more notable ones, Corvina mostly, and a little bit of Rondinella and a few other indigenous grapes. And after they press it one time with the Amarone, they don't necessarily as much repress as much as they kind of run past or repass over grapes from a Valpolicella classic wine. So this is almost like if an Amarone and a Valpolicella Superiore sort of met in the middle. And that's what I love about it. You get the finesse and the flavor and the unctuousness of like that dried style, but also that just beautiful, just silkiness that a Valpolicella Superiore gives you.
And you're getting it at almost half the price of an Amarone. It's a little less than half the price of a third of the price of an Amarone. And it's just super tasty, super delicious. I am so glad we're doing this. Oh yeah, well we could make you a plate.
Wrapped in meat.
Wrapped in meat. I got a little prosciutto.
It's got a little prosciutto, little capicola.
Yeah, we got a little capicola. It's all Italian cheeses too. That I did. Manchego. We have Parmesan. We have Asiago, and trying to remember the other one. Yeah, I have another whatever this is.
Yeah, that one that I got was with what does that have on it? Rosemary or something?
Yeah, that was the Manchego.
Oh, that was the Manchego. Okay.
So this is what I love about. And speaking of cheeses in Italy, we're not doing a wine from there tonight, but the Emilia Romagna region, which is where Parmigiano Reggiano originates from. I didn't know this till about 2-3 years ago when someone was telling me, which makes sense. That particular cheese obviously takes a certain time to age, but to get capital through your bank, you can actually go to your bank and say, yeah, I don't have the money as in liquid, but I do have a warehouse full of Parmigiano Reggiano, and they will actually take that as collateral because they know just on the world market what you can get for Parmigiano Reggiano. So if you're a bank in Italy, just think about that. You're like, you can do a little bit of wine, a little bit of cheese, or money, whatever. Whatever. I'll take whatever. Hey, cheese. But that shows you cheese is that important in Italy.
I'll take whatever you got.
Go to your local Bank of America and say, I have a will of Parmesan to get a loan, and see if they'll probably call local law enforcement on you. Right? I would take some money. You're like, you know what? Management material written all over.
Well, we do have some bankers that do watch the show. So if we can get a loan in wine, we'll talk. We'll definitely do that.
We are wine rich and money poor, so we can talk. So.
Yeah, we can talk. We can work on getting that second location.
But there you go. But this is a beautiful wine, guys. Again, as I think I've just kind of said it to be all. I mean, this is the fruit's doesn't overpower. It's not a jammy wine. It brings up that kind of, sometimes the Valpolicella Superiores are very light, so that Ripasso kind of gives it a little bit more oomph, gives more of that kind of black prune, a little bit of that olive as well. But a beautiful, beautiful wine. Again, this is one of those that's kind of confusing because I always tell people, put this on your shelf as a red blend. And they go, well, TC, should I put this in Italy? It's going to get lost in the Italian section. You put it in the red blend section, they're going to lose their mind because most red blend sections are like Zinfandel Petit Syrah base with like a black lab on it or something like that. And they're like, oh my God, I know somebody that has that. Oh, is it $9.99? Sold. And I get it. There's people that make way more money than I do that figure this stuff out, but from one wine drinker to another, Luigi Righetti not only is a fantastic producer of Amarone, but I quite frankly, as Danny said it, for half the price, you can get basically the same quality for half the price, and 5 years old too, which is a little bit of age on it as well.
This is really, really nice. Scott says we look like the Blues Brothers, so that's quite possible.
We got a half a bottle of wine, a full packet. What is it like? I got a full tank of gas, and maybe we'll say a half a case. We'll say a half a case of wine. Maybe we'll change it around a little bit.
600 miles to Chicago. And Barb's gonna be our winner. You're gonna get some chocolate. Barb did say Stelvin enclosure. The Stelvin enclosure. She pays attention on Virtual Vines.
Another T-shirt, Stelvin Society.
Stelvin Society.
The Stelvin Society.
That is it.
Wow. Yeah.
Someone better be writing this stuff down.
Better write these things down. Because at the end we go, what did we say? We go back and watch the show.
We feel like they're such good ideas at the time. I don't know.
Stelvin Society, yes. Yeah. All right. Let's go into a little bit into this. I did get some maps. So we're going to be more of the north west of Italy. Mm-hmm. I know this is the other side. We talked about the Lake Garda when we did the Tomasi and with the Laguina.
Yeah. The largest in Italy, again, for you nerds out there.
It's now we're talking just specifically Valpolicella, which is going to be a little bit more of the map, but we are in Vento.
Yeah, just about 40 miles or so away from Venice, which would be on the border right there. So,
so that's where we are on the map. And some of you guys might remember we had the Suave in the club. So if you can see on the map, it's kind of the Corte Suave. Yep. But then we were talking about that Corvina, and they let it sit on these racks and let it dry. And that drying process just really brings out the sugars and
intensifies the
flavor. So that's kind of a close up. So that's
kind of raisin it, and you can see that that's why Amore is so expensive, because it's like dry aging beef. It's like giving 10 pounds of a ribeye to your butcher and say, I'll come back in 180 or however many days, and obviously the yield will be substantially lower because the water weight will have evaporated. But some will argue the flavor is much more nuanced and almost gets in that tertiary kind of a thing, whereas typically a wine just pressed when it's sort of just harvested wouldn't give you as much of that fuller flavor or that high alcohol, depending. So and that's one of the reasons why you showed the map. You think about that area very close to Austria and Germany, very cool area. So as Valpolicella Superiore goes, a light wine, almost Pinot Noir-esque. So Amore was how can we make a big beefy wine? Okay, good. Damn it, it's kind of expensive. Then Rapasso, that's the answer to that everyday style. So I don't know, beautiful wine. I don't pour this out.
Yeah, don't pour that out. Don't pour that out. We don't even have a dump bucket today, so if you have to dump it, just dump it in my glass, TC. I also wanted to show that's the lake. That's the lake.
Yeah, Lake Garda. That's beautiful.
Beautiful lake. So if you're ever wanting to go to Italy, I mean, you can hang out on a beautiful lake.
Like I'm in Italy right now with your pictures.
Let me go back for a second. Yep. So here it is again, 26 normally down to 24. Get your club discounts over at loadedgrape.com. This is one if you're
drinking good now, but
Dan, what he's throwing in the cart.
Yeah, there you go. Definitely.
Yeah, this definitely could age too.
Which one should we go to?
Are we going pit pounder? Are we going pit pounder?
It could definitely be a pit pounder.
It's got enough consciousness to it.
It does. Sandrone. The Dolcetta d'Alba. Yeah. That's the one. Yep.
And admittingly, guys, I was thinking. We probably could have done the Ripasso maybe even later tonight, but I wanted to do this one specifically because this is just north of Tuscany, and which is our next wine after this. And even though they're neighbors, they really couldn't be further away in terms of the style of wine and how they make wine and their approach to wine. I mean, it really is kind of a night and day sort of a thing. So without further ado, let me pour a little bit. For my gracious host here. It's
been a while since we've done a Dolcetta d'Alba. We did do one through Kermit Lynch. Is this also a Kermit Lynch? No. Okay.
This is actually our good buddy Christoph over at Ventus.
Yes, Ventus, and he's going to be joining us at the end of March, doing a lot of stuff from Marietta Cellars. So, and if you remember last month, we had the Cristo and the Wine Club. So we'll be talking about the Cristo and the Army and a couple others that their Old Vine series as well. So so the end of March he'll be joining us back on the show. So mark your calendars for that.
All right, so Sandrone, and the reason, and I'm so glad we were able to get this. Danny and I, sometimes we're like, okay, which wines? And some wines just fall in place, and I think this one did. So we've, as Danny said, in the Piedmont region, we've certainly done Nebbiolo, we've done Barbaresco, we've done Barolo, we've done Barbera, right? But what's one thing, again, we haven't done or touched upon as much as Dolcetto. And as a farmer goes, the two things you can really grow every year in and year out, and rely on, the earlier ripening grape being Dolcetto, the later ripening grape being Barbera. And really, those are the everyday bistro asterias, the little, however they call them, the little eateries and whatnot, that kind of permeate all throughout Alba and Asti and all about the Lange, and which is actually where these guys are based. And again, the reason I wanted to pick this wine is, although this wine doesn't have the Medici old status as the next wine, the Mellinis, which is just they're like almost like Renaissance old. Yeah. The Dolcetto, certainly their family has their hand in wine for several generations, but they're very fastidious, just like the Piedmontese. I mean, so again, not to say winemakers in Tuscany don't get up early in the morning and tender their grapes, but when you go to Piedmont, it's almost like you're like a different country, because the work, it's almost like work. They're much more grindstoned. Their hands are much more like chapped and stuff like that. Whereas you go down to Tuscany, certainly they're making wine and making great wine, but it's more like, Danny, sit down, open another bottle of wine. It's okay. And they got the cypresses. Somebody's going by a little yellow Fiat, and you're like, damn, this is Italy. You go to Piedmont, you're like, is this Italy or Germany or Austria? I mean, you guys are like work. I don't know what's going on here. And again, all my Italian friends be like, TC, what do you mean by that? I'm like, nothing. Just, I'm a friend, or they say, he's a friend of ours. So anyway, Sandrone is known for these very boutique, very small production Nebbiolos from Barolo and Barbaresco that we get very, very small amounts of. I love Christoph, but damn it, if he doesn't like to keep some cherries away from me sometimes, and I have to kind of like, dude, Christoph. Okay, but
he's not a friend of the show, so that's why we're.
He is. So we're able to get so we're able to get some of this. So as Danny knows, about a year ago, we did a tasting as an auction item. We did their Barolo. I had just a little bit of it, got like 98 points or something like that. And we're going to tell you guys, it was easily over $150, I think, which is about where the Barolos go for and go very quickly. We do not get a lot of allocation every year, but 19, although being sort of a harder grow season, as it were, Alba specifically was spared compared to other parts in Italy and specifically Piedmont. So the Dolcetto just came out perfectly. So this is 2019. Dolcetto is meant to be consumed earlier, although Sandrone makes the style where if you want to sit maybe a year, 2-3 years, it would certainly get a little bit better. I won't say it will get precipitously better after 4 or 5 years, but it won't go bad per se. But Dolcetto just literally means the sweet little one. Now, doesn't mean sweet. This wine is not sweet at all. It's kind of a reference to the hillside, or even some people say when they pick the grapes and how they taste. But 99.9% of Dolcettos, specifically Dolcetto di Albas, are fermented dry. Wow. So, which is to say all the way dry. 13%, which is this wine. That's almost on the higher end. 13.5 is like, the 15.5 Cabernets of California. I mean, bigger style. Yeah. So Dolcetto, again, like a Barbera, earlier ripening instead of Barbera a little bit later. Barbera, I think, yield it more jam. I think Dolcetto, it kind of reminisces more of like one edge goes towards Pinot, one edge goes towards Nebbiolo, one has a little Barbera in there. It kind of plays on all those, but the tannins are very light, it's kind of mild, very easy drinking. And that's what I love about Dolcettos. A lot of people, again, the name throws them off because they think dolce or something or sweet. They know enough Italian to see the first part, but I can assure you guys this wine is
delightful.
Totally dry. Yeah. What do you think about with the cheese?
Oh, it's very, very good. Like I can't get over it. It has like a different finish that I'm just not used to, but I love it.
It has like a little fig, kind of like a fig thing to it. Mm-hmm. And what I love, it's very seamless. I mean, that Valpolicella, that Raposa we just had, great, but the tannins were a bit more pronounced and almost had a little bit of that ruggedness. This is just almost smooth. I mean, this is kind of like wax on, wax off. I mean, this is it's throwing a little Danielson on my tongue right now. I'm throwing some Danielson on my tongue right now.
For those who are looking for maybe kind of a drier red wine that maybe don't like as much that kind of California style when it has a little bit of that fruit. The fruit is not on the front of the palate. It's silky smooth on the front of the palate, and then goes to dry on the back of the palate. But really, really, really nice wine.
A little bit more violet than fruit, I think. I mean, if any fruit, I'd say with a little bit of more dried fruit. But again, it's more like dried fruit that was sweet at one point, maybe like, I don't know, like dried grapes, obviously raisins versus like dried cranberries or something like that. So it doesn't have that acidic tart tinge. Yeah, not sweet at all. And
little cherry is about but very, like you said, dried cherry without any sweetness.
I would easily, anything from the bologneses, if you want the little orzo with, even like a squeeze of lemon, some higher acid salmon tunas, I would easily go with that as well with this red wine.
Yeah, this is really nice.
Very good.
And I love when we start talking about Italian families and family owned. I mean, look at the family up there. I mean, there they are working the winery and working the vineyards, and it's a family ordeal with multi-generations, and just a really, really beautiful winery as well. And then,
and before we go on to the next one, and you kind of made me think of something, and I've said it before, but as an Italian said to me, he said, TC, when most Americans get a home on the weekends, they're out there if they have time, working on their yards and whatever else, or doing something outside. He goes, Italians, not to say they don't do that, obviously, but he said more so they're growing vines almost everywhere. So if we were in Italy, it was like everybody in their yard grows vines. And to kind of put it in perspective, guys, what I mentioned earlier, 2 million acres. To put that in perspective, California, which is not only the USA's largest producer, but North America's largest producer, as a matter of fact, puts USA at number 4 worldwide, just behind Italy, France, and Spain. But California only has about 550,000 acres, which is, I would say, at least bigger, if not as big than Italy. I know Italy's a really long country, but it's about 60 million people, so I know it's more than California, but not by much, because California's 40 or so million people. But when we think about it, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is we think of small areas like Alba. These are areas that are considered, especially as a DOC, as Danny was talking about, these little DOCs that you see. To be a DOC, it's self-regulated. So you have to be certain varietals. It has to, have age requirements in some cases, certain alcohol minimums and maximums. But what's great about it is this particular one is just so just kind of round and kind of smooth, beautiful wine. But Alba specifically is only about 5. Yeah.
Just a little splash.
I almost lose my point, but Alba specifically is about 5 or so thousand acres. Now, North Carolina, I guess we should do. Yeah. We're doing some trivia tonight, so let's have people tune in.
All right,
go ahead. Watching North Carolina. How many acres? Now, again, my check is about 2018 facts. So again, they're a few years behind.
Yep.
How many acres? Well, then let's just say 500 or so. Do people guess North Carolina has?
Yeah.
And I've already said California is about 90% of.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm thinking of Tanya just loves that. I think this might be a Tanya's. We're not even all the way through the wine up here, but so guys, so as we talk about your Wikipedia, maybe how many acres North Carolina has. First of all, I can assure you, Alba has more than that. That's kind of the point to it. But you just think about the big state we have versus this small little sub-region. So we've done the Veneto, which is really one of the main areas. We've done the Piedmont, which is, again, when we think about Barolos and Barbarescos and even Moscato d'Asti. I mean, I love a good Moscato d'Asti. I mean, people gets a bad rap.
During the summer when it's hot.
You give me a good producer with a great Moscato d'Asti and I don't care, man. I mean, just some Girl Scout cookies. I mean, I'm fattening it up. I don't care, man. Just give it to me. I mean, the good thing about those 10% alcohol. I mean,
I can vision of TC
just
like 3 boxes of.
You're like, TC, is he okay? And I just kind of cough up half. I'm like, oh yes, caramel mint.
Well, Alita's going with 2,300 acres.
Wow, that's that. Are we going to get any more answers in? Or
I don't know. I'm just.
Let's go ahead and put the clock.
I think everybody's turned us on, and then they're like, "Hang on, I'll be right back," and they walk away, and they come back, and they walk away, and they come back.
Like, are they still talking about random stuff?
They used to talk to each other. Now they just don't even talk to each other.
Yeah.
Well, I love this dolcetto. As we go on to the next one, guys. So again, we've done the Veneto, we've done Piedmont, and we're going to do Tuscany. And Tuscany, guys. Again, when we think of Italy, with all that land dedicated to growing vines and making wine, really you cannot think about Italy without Tuscany. I mean, here's the birthplace of the Renaissance and the church. The Mellini, the one behind that. Yep.
And Michelle just went with 2,300 acres and 525 vines. I think you Googled that.
I was going to say she was very, very close, very specific. I was going to say it's a very
specific number if you have that many, but. I think we're there, 2,300.
Yeah. So my last and I was the NC Ag. I think 2018 I saw was like 2,700 acres total planted. Now let's just go ahead and say 300 for argument's sake, or excuse me, 3,000 acres.
Yep.
that's for the entire state of North Carolina, and we're really considered one of the top 10. I mean, we're certainly not near, say, New York or Oregon or Washington, but we're certainly way more than the Wyomings and Oklahomas and Alaskas of the world, certainly. So
Texas is growing, though.
No, Texas. Well, I was going to say Texas. Certainly, Texas is. I mean, Texas, New York, Oregon, Washington are right there. I mean, not want to say right there by California, but are in that like solid 2 to 5 status. You know, I mean, those guys are with the amount of land and the resources they have in those states, they're really making some good wine too.
They're making some good wine down in Texas, and hopefully it starts making its way up this way because everything we've kind of tried is really, really good. So.
All right, so we're going to go down, and Danny, if you want, it might be a good time to do a map real quick, and then we'll
do the map first. So I just wanted to again 27 on this, down to 25. This is really
Danny
good.
Danny always asks me, guys, when we do this show, how many cases do we have left? And some of these we're a little short on. We have, in some cases, mini wines, 5 cases is a lot. Sandrone, we just got that a few weeks ago. 2019 guys will not last long. We have some wines tonight that we have literally mere cases of, less than that. But the Sandrone at 5 cases, make sure you get a bottle because you can experience what just unbelievable quality Piedmontese Dolcetto tastes like. So this is the map of Tuscany. And when I mentioned that, so just right above that is the Piedmont. So you have Tuscany there, butted right up, and you have the Ligurian Sea to the west and the Apennine to the east. You know, here are towns like Florence. And really, when you think about Chianti Classico, which is what we're going to talk about now, Mellini is really one of the oldest families there. I mean, we're talking, 400 or 500 generations, right there when the church really had its hold, and the Medicis and some of these old families kind of had their hold on the land and business and things like that. But this is just close to the town of Siena, so the Sienese, basically. So this is perched up at about 900 to 1,200 feet in elevation. This is in the old zone. So this is the Classico. So again, when they were defining Chianti as a region grows every year. I mean, I think Chianti, every year somebody wants to make a Chianti, and it gets gerrymandered because, hey, let's face it, there's ways around certain things, and a few euros or a few bucks can do that, right? So the old growers, the people that say, hey, they ain't making any more of this land, got together and again said, well, we can stop this and we can actually use this DOCG status to our advantage and do Classico, which again has not only location requirements, but has age requirements as well. Yep. So, and Mellini, again, is one of those where they make beautiful, and one of my favorite words in the show, quaffable, entry level Chiantis. They do. But this is the Terra Rossa, and the Terra Rossa is one, guys, we don't get a lot of.
It smells so good.
Isn't this beautiful?
So good. It's a really nice Chianti.
Yeah, touch of Cabernet Sauvignon and a touch of Merlot. When I say a touch, 5 to 10%. I think Chianti Classico's standard now is 90 or 85 or 90% Sangiovese. So they put just a skosh of Merlot and Cabernet just to bolster it. But this is just Sangiovese at its best right here.
Really, it really is. And again, we get a little bit more classification too.
I was talking about cherries earlier. This has got cherries written all
totally
over.
Cherry. We also have, could have a Chianti Classico Reserva, which would be their
age requirements. Yes, you have, so Chianti, which is the region, minimal age requirements, Classico, which is more of a sub-region with age requirements and alcohol minimum and maximums, and then Reservas, which also have, I believe, several years in bottle and in oak or a combination of those before they can release. So just like this one, guys, this one's 2017. It was just released. So this was, I think the minimum requirement for a Classico is like 12 months. I think something like that. Months. I think it was 12 months between at least 3 to 6 months in bottle. I think something like that. Yeah. So Fattatoria, what you'll see Fattatoria a lot, that just means farmhouse. Mellini, Terra Rossa. This is their kind of terraced terraced hillside that's southwest facing. Gets a lot of sun, so that's what I love about this wine. It's not that thin basket Chianti that we our old school chicken parmesans. We love those restaurants. I love those. I'm a chicken parmesan guy, but we all know the restaurants that at one point, they had a good wine, and now at one point you go and you look at the wines, because we've been spoiled. Let's face it, we've been spoiled. And sometimes we go in, and the basket wines of the world. Honestly, it got to the point where the baskets costed more than the wine itself. That's how the quality just went down of the wine so much. So the Mellinis are really trying to bring Classico back, whereas Brunello really took that reserve status and ran with it. So I think you can find a wine like these guys that are 12, 13 generations or more into it. for a very small amount of money compared to a Brunello de Montalcino, which is what, usually $60-$70 a bottle or up, right? So
this is drinking really, really nice. I'm gonna go back and show everybody the screen. So at 25 down to 23. It's not the cheap end Chianti that you might find. It is definitely a step up, but it drinks so nice. It's silky smooth on the tannin. Really, this we're nibbling on the charcuterie board over here.
I was like, this wine makes me so happy. I think I'll eat a piece of cheese.
Yeah, it's so good. And we couldn't talk about regions of Italy without talking about Chianti. I mean, it's a region.
Chianti and Tuscany is. I mean, when you think of Italy, I mean, I think of just even the stereotype romanticized version of Italy, whatever that is to you. It's Tuscany. It really is in Tuscany. It's zigzag roads. It's these beautiful cypress trees. Yeah, it's these cars that you're like, oh my God, that's a cute little two-seater. I don't even know what that is. Is that an Alfa Romeo, just like from 1962 that you're just going to get your groceries and you're just like, just stuff like that. I mean, the Tuscany
the orange roofs with the sun.
As they would say, it really is God's country, and that is a beautiful spot if you ever go. And frankly, I'll be honest. I mean, Tuscany has become a little touristicized. They made the movie Under Tuscan Sun and things like. I mean, hey, once is it Julia Roberts? I think was in that. Once Julia Roberts
it was Diane. Was it Diane Lane?
Okay, I'm not sure who it was. I was going to say, throw Julia Roberts in there. You're going to have like 20 or 30,000 visitors, right? But anyway, you can find these boutique wineries as well.
Right? And that takes.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So again, I'm not saying don't go and manja your heart out in Italy. But in Tuscany, there's a love-hate with most Italians because certainly they garner a lot of attention, and they make great wine. But because of that, there are a lot of naysayers that are making IGT or very entry-level Chiantis that, quite frankly, are lowering the status of not only Chianti or even Sangiovese. So for those of you watching the show that are like, you know what, I've been burned the last 2 or 3 times. I went on a Chianti limb or I went on Sangiovese limb. Throw a bottle of this. Don't be upset about it. For $23 minus the discount, this is something.
Go for it. Go for it. You're gonna love this. Even if you're making Valentine's Day this year's gonna be a little different, right? The restaurants are at limited capacity, so you're not gonna be. It's gonna be even harder to get reservations. Do like we did tonight. Make a charcuterie board, cheese board. Get yourself some wine. Get some bubbles. Come by the shop. Load up. Just spend the night at home. Stop by the store, get some chocolate covered strawberries, and just have a night. And I would say this. Is
that what we're doing? Is that what you're doing for me?
Yeah, I'm doing it for you. Look at that.
Nice.
So romantic. Yeah. And we always have our romantic nights with TC.
Spice it up a little bit. That's the 9:30 show, folks.
9:30.
If you gotta ask,
9:30 show.
If you gotta ask, then you don't know.
No. But that's what you could do this Valentine's Day, and really have a wonderful evening, just sitting around talking, having wine.
I mean, these last 2 wines, guys, were as poundable and drinkable.
Yeah,
and
that's the problem with all these wines.
I mean, all these wines are really. I mean, their pasta had like a little bit of just I've been working out a little beefiness to it, but these last 2 wines have been just. I mean, with the Sandrone, silky smooth, but this one has just that little it kind of crescendos at the end a little bit. Medium tannin, as Danny said, cherry, a little minerality, but I almost when you were talking charcuterie board, I almost got this like black olive tapenade kind of thing off the smell of it,
Yes.
Oh man,
We went to a restaurant the other night, and this kid orders a bowl of olives.
Italian olives.
How old was he?
And asked me if I shared with anybody. The answer was no. I ate the whole bowl of olives by myself.
Oh, that boy! I thought you were like, I saw like a little 3-year-old.
No. I ate a whole bowl of olives. I was, and I had a plate of just the pits. It looked like when you go to wing night and you have all the bones, and I had all the pits all lined up.
Like I need that. I need like a little.
Nuts. I was like, someone's gonna think there's like a whole plate of nuts.
No, I did. We did. We went to Roosters out in Winston-Salem, in a really nice restaurant, and we had a great time. They have a great wine list as well.
Nice.
And
guys, and speaking of Rooster, look at that.
I forgot that. Yeah, in that Chianti. Yeah, if you're getting stuff from the Chianti region,
the black chicken, you'll see that, and one of our favorite wines on the show and producers, Biale, which we've done the Petite Syrah and Zinfandel. they can trace their heritage back to well, specifically Genoa, but a little homage or a little salute, as it were, to their Italian heritage is the white chicken. So that is that right there. I don't know if we thought that we may have talked about that before.
That. Yeah, and there's the Sangiovese
beautiful.
grape,
Look
just
at that.
a beautiful grape. It does make you want to just pick it off the vine and just eat it. It's just a beautiful wine.
Some fresh bread, a little bit of olive oil. I mean, you just feel like you're in heaven right there. You're like, please kill me now. Because, I mean, once... Well, yeah, I mean, when people say, "Where did you go?" and you say, "Well, once you're in heaven, you don't go back to earth." I mean, that's really Tuscany. That's that. And you think about some of the best wines of the world. You look around where they're made. Aren't they beautiful? I mean, isn't that the one thing that almost every beautiful or a really great wine region has in common? You look around, you're like, damn, I'd love to live here too, right? I mean, whether it be Napa Valley or places, Bordeaux, Tuscany, or
Elkin, North Carolina.
Elkin, yeah. Well, no, it's beautiful there. I mean, North Carolina, guys, North Carolina, very, very beautiful as well. I mean, you don't get a lot of diversity sometimes, but hey, we're growing, we're getting there,
Well, Scott thinks he's outdrunk the Vatican this year, and it's quite possible.
Well, and again, I always say that to wine drinkers, and we usually scoff, but I'm like, guys, we're a minority. We're the 1%. You got to think about it. I mean, most people don't drink much wine, and if they do, if they go to your Rite Aid or your Safeway or whatever they're going to buy a bottle of wine for Christmas or bar mitzvah or whatever, they usually have a $15 budget. I mean, let's be frank. I mean, that's usually, and if they can get 2 bottles for $15, sometimes all the better, because it seems like they're more bountiful and they bring over a gift. It doesn't seem like doesn't sound like something that we would do, but unfortunately, that is our cousin Betty. We need to tell cousin Betty. We need to let her know that
need to be on
there's
watching this show.
Because guys, we have not even touched $30. I mean, guys, at $20, at $15. I mean, guys, think about at $20, $25. The viniculture evangelist, the winemaker, the cellar masters, the people that brought it over, the 3 levels of sales, as it were, and to still get it to you at under $25.
Yep.
I mean, how many things in the world can you kind of touch that many hands and pay for that many people's salaries for the $25?
Yeah, it's impressive, and this wine is so delicious too. And,
it really is.
And we'll move on to the next one.
We usually are at a point where I'm like, yeah, this one was okay. No, these are all like phenomenal.
Well, I think and truth be known, I think I may have disappointed Vanna last time we saw her.
Oh,
so
he did.
She's like, TC, I no, I didn't. I thought about that all day. All of a sudden, like
TC brought some wines for us to taste one day last week, and he was just like gung ho about them, and I'm like, TC, what are you doing? I usually love all of your wines, and I didn't like any of them.
I know, and literally, I get in the car.
After he left, I was like, that was awful to say to someone.
And Chris Isaac, Wicked Games came on as soon as, and I looked up in the mirror to adjust it, and I'm like, I'm not crying. The sun's in my eye. It's okay. It's okay. It cuts deep, but it's okay. I heal.
Yeah, he didn't heal quickly because he did say, "Well, I have some other wines I can bring.
I have some other wines, man.
I can bring over.
Yeah.
Maybe Tanya might like those."
I gotta redeem myself.
It was.
But
bad.
hey, all you gotta bat is 300 to get in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah,
which apparently we don't even have that anymore. I don't know.
We don't.
Different show.
Different show. That's the 9:30.
So let's get on to the Salice Salentino. And our accent gets either better or less pronounced as we go on.
So getting really good by now because you're usually
it's like pool. Well, it's like pool. The 2 to 3 drink is like you're shooting like Paul Newman. After that, you're like sloppy jalopy, and you're just or before you're just like a nervous nanny. So that's where you're going. So
we're even going down in price. We're going down in price
and down geographically. Right?
Down geographically, down in price. We're going to go down to
or quality.
Or quality, really not.
TC and Vanna show.
TC.
Yeah, I'm not saying much.
Then sit back and just produce the show.
So all we have to do is put a charcuterie board.
Danny's like, you know what, guys? I'm just, screw it. I'm just going to eat my puff pastry.
I'm going to eat my puff pastry.
And my Asiago is honestly entertaining more than you folks right now. I'm not going to lie.
You guys have your night. It's fine.
And TC show. Here it is. All fun and games. Oh goodness! So yeah, we're getting on down, literally in geographic and in the price, but again not in quality. To Apulia, which is literally the heel of the boot, the southeasternmost corner of Italy. This right here, guys, is an area that, as you can imagine, being that far south, sun-drenched, warm. I mean, we're talking 300 days of sunshine. Usually very dry temperatures. Mediterranean, but very dry Mediterranean. And actually, it's almost more like in some cases parts of northern Napa than like places like Tuscany is. And so Apulia tonight, guys, we're going to talk about some of the obscura. We're going to go kind of left, right, give you the end 1-2 punch with some obscura. Apulia is a great little area known for Primitivo, which we've done on the show, which is Zinfandel. Yep. And they make some other great, interesting colloquial varietals, one of which is from this area called Salice Salentino. And to be a DOC, Salice Salentino, it has to be at least 80% of this grape called Negro Amaro. Now, Negro Amaro...
Did I grab the wrong map?
No, that's a perfect. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's Apulia. Yeah, that's Apulia.
Okay.
There it is.
Sorry. I was looking for it on the map, and I can't find it.
It's about midway. If I don't know if this shows the winery.
So it's going to be about, I guess.
Not quite on the coastline, but yeah, think of, okay, so we're at Bari. If you went a little far south and a little bit to the right, I guess, it would be kind of where we're talking about tonight. But so Negro Amaro, and for those of you that, even slept through Italian class in high school, Negra, dark or black, and Amaro is bitter. And as if you're a mixologist out there, Amaros are huge now, all kinds of different digestives and things like that, which all permeate through this part of the world as well. But it's not necessarily bitter. I mean, on the vine itself, it might be a little astringent, but when blended with a little bit of Malvasia Nero, which is a classic grape that ripens later, and at about 20% gives it that unctuousness. And what I love about it, both grapes are a little tannic. Both grapes are a little darker.
Yep. They're both on the screen right now.
Both on the screen. Perfect.
Yeah. So on the left. This is actually the Malvasia, and the Negro Amaro's up top above the vineyard. Is that?
Yeah. So a little bit darker in tinge. Right. I know I have sunglasses on, and I'm looks a little darker. Yeah, there you go. But that ripens a little earlier, and some of the laissez sort of pseudo producers that just make a because you can find just Negro Amaro, but not without being Salice Salentino. Usually is about 100%. But to be this, the reason they blend in Malvasia Nero again is to give it that floral note, is to give it that kind of. I kind of wraps it together. It really kind of brings that. Negro Amaro is one of these grapes. It's like Cabernet Franc. It can be good by itself, but it kind of needs a friend. It needs something to kind of help keep the beat kind of rounded out a little bit more. And Malvasia Nero just does it. Again, these are two grapes that really outside of this part of the world, you're not going to find. But what I love about these wines, again, is just, for those Zinfandel drinkers, the Cabernet drinkers of the world, I think would love this wine.
It's got a lot more of a more of a bitter finish than the other wines. The tastes are great. Dry too. So those who are looking for a drier red.
Definitely drier. And I think you said like maybe just a little bit. I won't say necessarily tart, but when they think Negro Amaro gives that kind of bitter, that kind of punch, kind of punch note. Yeah. And I think that's what's really kind of cool about this particular varietal. You get these kind of blue-black notes off of it. A little blueberry, a little blackberry off of it. You also get a little of that kind of dried fruit, dried herb. But again, it comes from an area that's, fairly warm, fairly hot. It can get well over 100 degrees during the summertime. So these are grapes that don't mind the sun, don't mind the heat, and the wine kind of speaks to that. So I think of Languedoc or Paso Robles or Lodi and some of those areas, not quite as jammy or high alcohol, but certainly has that rustic thing, and as you said, a little drier kind of a thing to it. So.
We have a question on whether it's more flat there or mountainous, because I think they might have saw my initial photo, which I had. I had it closer to the Bari.
So the coast right there.
There's the coast. Of
Bari, Well, so just about everywhere you go, as I mentioned, has either foothills or mountains somewhere in Italy. This particular part, as you're getting closer to the coast, obviously it flattens out a little, but they don't really have beaches like we have beaches here, especially North Carolina. They don't flatten out to where, let's go over the sand dune and go to the beach. Certainly they have it, but it's more so the picture you showed. It's very dramatic,
very
West Coast. Yeah, West Coast. This kind of drifts right off and goes right down to the Mediterranean. Very beautiful. I mean, you talk about, Tanya and I always joke about the show that comes on Monday nights, Below Decks. Again, Andy Cohen. Hey, we're not too proud. We're not too proud to. Who are these putzes that are mentioning my name? That are mentioning my name.
We could easily be your bartenders for the night.
We will be your bar, Andy. If anybody knows a guy that knows a guy, I mean, we're 6 degrees of separation.
Knows a guy.
Somebody here knows a guy.
I've been there. I've been on the show. I've been to the show.
Yeah. Well, we'll be the bartenders. We'll be the bartenders.
I've been in the studio audience and drinking.
We'll open up a crazy expensive bottle of wine that night, something like that.
Yeah,
right? So again, as the point being is the Below Deck, when they do Mediterraneans, a lot of places they go in the Med, as they call it, the cool kids.
In the Med.
I know, for people that can, like, where do you summer at? And I'm like, the same place I fall in winter. Says the guy in the classy V-neck and the little Italian.
I tell you what.
Right.
He steps up his game for us.
I know.
But Valentine's Day was coming. I gotta get him chocolates. It's gonna be.
I gotta do it. So for those of you out there again that want to wine geek it, kind of wine nerd it, and maybe we haven't sold it enough or yet, we only have about a case or so of this wine.
Yeah.
So not the hard sell you, but literally this is the lowest amount of any of the wines that we have tonight.
Yeah. This is the 12 bottles. This is grab it or not.
Well, the reason we wanted to do this, we wanted to kind of showcase Italy.
And it's at a great price. So if you're willing to take a risk, it's at 20 plus your discount. If you're going to take a risk on one, you'll be like 18, 17.50, somewhere in there. It's worth taking a risk on. And again, I only have like 12 bottles. So
you know what it is now? I think I've kind of figured it out. So we've done the Sandrone and the Chianti Classico, which were cherry, a little bit more high-pitched cherry, which were like fresh cherry, like riper. This is dried cherry. This has more of that dried, as you said. I think that's what it is. It's the fruit's there, but it's more that dried fruit, and it's not raisinized as it were. But that dryness and that tannins, I think, comes from the heat, a la more of that kind of drier. Dry cherry.
I'm loving on this.
This is a great wine.
If you guys don't buy it all, I'm going to buy a few. I can tell you right now.
When you walk in a lot of wine shops, we're going to see a lot of wines from Tuscany and the Piedmont and the Veneto, and as you should, they make great wines there. But these are areas that again kind of get overlooked. And as I mentioned earlier, when you go to one part of Italy, your mind explodes because you're like, damn it. Everything I knew from the last area, forget about it. We're totally different here. It's like a whole different. It's not even the same sport. It's like a different sport every time.
We don't normally talk about. So
every time,
that's what we do on Virtual Vine sometimes.
And I think we've done the rosé. Did we do the rosé?
I feel like the
Negramaro rosé.
Rosé.
Which maybe we do the 2020 at some point. That's a delicious little wine.
People did like that. So
and one thing I'll say, guys, before we move on, this particular winery, Castello Monsi. As we're talking about places that are very picturesque, this is actually one of the most highly visited places in Italy in terms of weddings. For venues, I mean, they have a beautiful like B&B hotel. I'm sure you probably saw that.
When I was on the website, it was absolutely gorgeous.
I think there's a huge company that kind of does that. So Castello Monsi in Italy, especially in southern Italy, is a big. They have many leather-bound books. They're kind of a big deal. And this particular wine, guys, again, all that we only have a case of, I can assure you, this is, if you're going to take a gamble on anything from this part of the world, these are the producers in which you want to do it from.
Yes, this is a really, really nice wine, and at that price, take advantage of, again, 12 bottles. Don't sleep on it, because when you love it and you want more of it, I probably won't be able to get any of it. So just know that. And now we're going to finish up with a little Nero d'Alba
from the rock
in Sicily. So we're going to go all the way down to the foot,
or to the little island,
to the little toes.
To the little island. To the little island.
I'll be there in a second. I still have I didn't want to chug this. I
was going to say, I think you had a more of an important point than I was going to make. So.
I was just going to say, when we talk about Sicily, there's not, most people, there's not a lot to, there's a lot of wine regions in Sicily, but
a lot of bulk wine.
A lot of bulk wine.
And honestly, they got pegged for many years of making high alcohol wines that were, quite frankly, ones that they shipped up north as fillers, because they said, okay, well, we can only make red wines that are 10.5. Let's take these 18% grapes from the super hot island of Sicily and ship them up and blend them in. And that's kind of the thing that Sicily was known for some time, but it's really making a renaissance now. I mean, I think you have wineries like this particular one that we're going to do, the Ria Favre, which was the first to do native yeast strands on Nera de Avola. So again, guys, we're talking local grapes. So Nera de Avola, a very local grape. So outside of like your cool winery in California that does 2 barrels of it, this is the area in which you'll see it permeate. Yeah, you see Mount Etna to the one side and Palermo to the other. So this winery comes from that more southern part of Italy, and close to the Voto area. Let me see if oh yeah, there we go. The Noto. There we go. So if you think of all the way down that little peach area, that is where we're talking about here tonight. And
we had to take our glasses down to see what color it was.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, well, and I was just like, I was like, it's normally the Val di Noto. So anyway, which is this particular winery is just a mere miles away from where the grape gets its name from. But guys, the one thing I can say about Nero, if you don't listen to anything else we say about Sicily or this wine tonight, for people that love Syrah, and I know some people maybe roll their eyes. I know there's in the wine world, there's a little bit of a cliche to say that. It's kind of like saying, New Zealand Sauv Blancs have grapefruit or something like that, which they do. But this particular wine, to me, has this like really just a beautiful like wild bramble thing, this kind of like allspice, a little allspice
compared to everything else. This has spice in it.
Yeah, a little allspice, a little red peppercorn to it. I love this wine with like a little lamb. Honestly, I had, and I'm sure many of you, like any good discerning red, white, and blue American, last night had chicken wings of some sort. My wife got me to grill some wings, tossed them in sauce, threw them back on there, got a little caramelization on there.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking with this right here, again, we always think white meat with something lighter, but I'm thinking you get that grill caramelization, that kind of char marks. I mean, guys, you talk about a pit pounder. You bring this to a pit pounder, not only will everyone love you, people are like, oh, dude, what was that bottle last February you brought over? You just not get a lot of this wine. And again, you think of Sicily. Most people from Sicily are alla Siciliana first. I'm sorry, Danny. I about took out Danny's bicuspid there with my thumb. So this particular area, guys, was just made for wine. Unfortunately, again, they're trying to turn the name around. So I'm trying to think of the cooking wine, Marsala and the cheap vermouths of the world that were all made in Sicily, and quite frankly, some still are today. But if you search long enough, you have people like Kermit Lynch and again, I can't say enough about what these guys. What don't
it is? I was gonna say, I think this is. I know we had one that was a Kermit Lynch in here, and we cannot do one without a Kermit Lynch, and it's a 2015, which we know for the growing year of Italy and across the globe, 2015 was an excellent growing year, and this is drinking so nice. And so
this plum. It has like a little plum on the background to it.
How much alcohol is in this guy? 18? Is that
no, it's probably not quite that much.
It's 14.
It's probably and that might be kind of
might be a little
conservative.
Low.
I mean, there might be.
So bad.
Well, there might be this, and again, they have a 1.5 leeway, but Nero, where it's at, they could probably go up to easily 15% in some cases. But what I love about that, and if anything that we've said tonight, if you're going, you know what, TC, I love you, but I have my typical cab, my red blend from California, my Malbec from Mendoza, my Syrahs from Australia, I love. What's an area in Italy that you've talked about tonight that really can kind of emulate those areas? Quite frankly, the last two, the Apulia, the Solecchi Salentino, which quite frankly, guys, we don't have a lot of. And probably just a few extra cases more than that is this particular one, the Nera de Avola. So again, don't go scratching your heads and go, I've never heard this grape. Again, it's just a grape that
I'm going to tell you, TC brought his A game.
The Italian wines
are good. Well, and again,
Italy
Italy is just the land of wine. It really is, guys. And you really have to search. And sometimes, again, with that much wine, you're going to have the quick buck artist, as any market does, but like any bear market, like when times are tough, like in Sicily, you have people like this that go, you know what, we're going to keep making damn good wine. And now you have Kermit Lynch, that you have folks like us that are like, you know what, we're able to try a little bit of some, what Nero d'Avola tastes like, I think. And for me, really in a blind tasting, or if you want to say, this is what Nero should taste like, this has that spice, that vanilla, a little that violet kind of a thing to it. As I said, red peppercorn. But lamb, as I said,
these are also good. I can't even pick like a favorite. Even the white is like phenomenal. So I'm like, I don't even know where to start. It's like all good.
I would say again, we're talking. The reason we did Italy and it's Amore, we had Valentine's Day coming up. We knew everybody was gonna be staying home. We were gonna be making stuff like, you could make a quick pasta dish. You could make some chicken parmesan. You could even go pork or steak.
And we had some reds, even though we're red heavy tonight, guys. There's some reds tonight that will go seafood. People forget.
Yep.
Italy, most of Italy's diet, even surrounded by the seas, seafood. I mean, they eat a lot of steak, a lot of shellfish, and a lot of fish, and again, lighter sauces. And so again, when some of those first wines that we did tonight, like the Sandrones of the world and the Chiantis, I mean, those are wines that, quite frankly, I would go with a lot of these beautiful lighter caper dishes, little lemon based dishes. I mean, really, really could definitely do it. So
and even if you want that little Fantini Trebbiano with a little shrimp cocktail to start the night off, man, that would be a right. Yeah,
I had to feel like I've been jumping on a trampoline all night.
I had to do that. These are just really, really fun wines that you can celebrate Valentine's Day with, and it's Italian. It's the language of love, and so this is just something you can do to kind of.
It's speaking my love language.
Yeah, I guess
it is. Wine. Yeah, unfined, unfiltered, native yeast strains, guys. So again, there are some Neros out there that you can find that are easily probably $5, maybe even some cases $10, but will not come near. Will not come Nero. It will not come Nero de quality.
I was gonna say it's
speaking. His shirt too.
Yeah.
So let's do a quick little recap here. We started off with the Fantini Trebbiano. I mean, gosh, it was delicious. Loved it.
Yellow
15
straw,
a bottle.
Orange blossom.
We drank a lot more of that than we did anything else. So that lets you know where we're loving. Then we went to the Ripasso, which I'm probably gonna have a glass of before this night's over. I just love that Corvina grape and having that second pressing because I do love Amorone so much. Just sometimes Amorone just not for the budget. The budgie. The budgie just doesn't meet the Amorone budgie.
I know. Yeah, it is true. But you can certainly live richly without paying a king's ransom.
Yes, and at $24 a bottle plus your club discounts.
That's a great deal.
That is a great deal. The Zadroni, the Dolcetto was drinking really, really good.
Probably the smoothest pound for pound
wine
tonight.
Smooth.
Like a baby's bottom on that wine right there. I mean, that wine is just like
Italian baby.
And it's like you went to a car show and you're like, how many coats of wax is on that thing? I mean, that's just like that is a smooth wine.
And then we went to the and that's at $25 a bottle, so take advantage of that while your club discounts, because some of you guys will get that really, really great price on that. And then the Mellini, the Terra Rossa Chianti Classico, man, that is
high elevated, centuries old winery that, again, guys, spends, just a little time at the winery just to give a little of that elevage to bring it to that next level. Scotia Cab and Merlot, but guys, I mean, this is something you definitely want to take advantage. This will get you back.
Like an all-star lineup. I'm just looking at them going.
This will give you back. This will give you the McLovin of Chiantis again.
Yeah, it is the McLovin of wine right there. And then we did the
Costello Monsi Salacci Salentino.
Yeah, we're going to let TC do all the Italian, which we only have 12 bottles of, and at $20. I don't expect that to last. It is probably the driest of the wines that we did tonight. Also, some fun grapes that are in there that we don't normally do, or you don't normally think of.
When you think of Malvasia, I mean, think of a white. I mean, there's Malvasia Biancos and some Malvasias that can be sweeter, but this is it's kind of fun to see the dark, the red version of that. So
and then we finished with the Nero d'Alba down in Sicily, and we're loving on this right now because for $25, it is like it says, it's bright and juicy, but there's just that good high alcohol kind of spice and on this
spice, almost like a little leathery kind of. I mean, it's got a little of that kind of like God, what can I say? I mean, almost like that dry age kind of meat. I mean, like dry kind of smoked meat thing going on to it. But again, you talk about porch pounders, pit pounders. This is easily something that's going to go with your ribs, your barbecues of the world. Throw some hush puppies in there and some coleslaw and a bottle of this, man. I mean, and I'd say even like that vinegar based. I mean, you can do vinegar based or tomato based, mustard based. TC, stop it.
Yes, stop. I have not eaten all my charcuterie board yet. Then just remember to put in your club member a
skeeler, which is like a skier.
Yes. Be sure to put your wine club member discounts, cellar, estate, reserve. If you're in the Grand Reserve, use reserve is also to get your club member discounts. Next week we're doing varietals that we're loving. Yes, so me and TC are going to pick some.
And Tanya
that we're drinking, because a lot of times everybody asks us in the shop.
Month.
It is your birthday month.
Month. That is what day is it actually?
The 23rd.
23rd.
It's on a Tuesday.
Right.
So the 22nd would be a good day to have all of Vanna's favorite wines.
I was going to say, I mean, 23rd, you guys need to go ahead and
that'd be a whole show on Pinot Grigio and Rosé.
That is untrue.
And so, but we'll definitely probably have a Pinot Grigio or Rosé, because that's what Tanya's loving right now. But a lot of people ask us all the time, like, what are you drinking when you're at home? What are the things that you're opening? So we're going to do a show based around that, varietals that we're loving, and that we think you'll be loving right now too. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's next week, 7:30. You can watch if you're watching on your Facebook page or watching on our YouTube channel, either one. So that's gonna be a wrap. Again, go over to the website and go check that out and check out. And again, a reminder. Let me just let me take this. Remove. There we go. We are doing that Chardonnay sale too. So 20% off with Chard 20.
Should have called it Chardonnay sale.
It's a Chardonnay sale. So you can get 20% off.
Or that song, Watch Me Sip on Chardonnay.
On the Chardonnay.
Chardonnay.
Yeah. So be sure to take advantage of the Chardonnay sale. We're just a little heavy in Chardonnay, and we were like, we need to. Well, let's have a little sale and see if we can, because we've been tasting a lot of great Chardonnays. But
plus, cougars love Chardonnay.
Oh, well.
And it's Valentine's.
It's Valentine's Day. It's a good time to pick up a Chardonnay for
whether you're a cougar or no cougar.
Yes,
come to the Loaded Grape.
I guess,
and get 20% off.
Guess cougars like that stuff.
Cougar juice.
Oh boy. Oh man.
If you or anyone you know wears yoga pants, you may like Chardonnay. You may love Chardonnay.
Oh my goodness.
If you watch HGTV as much as anything else, you may enjoy Chardonnay. Anyway,
we digress.
So any housekeeping that we need to say.
Housekeeping again. Just want to remind you about Galentine's Day in the shop on Saturday. So please make a reservation even if you're thinking about showing up to drink outside of Galentine's Day, because we're doing it in the shop. We will be filling up, and so we have some time slots that are already pretty close to full. But $10 for non-club members, $8 for wine club members. Got 4 great wines in there that you're going to really, really love, including a chocolate sparkling. Ooh. But it's actually a French sparkling. It's not chocolate color. It just has a little hint of taste of chocolate, and it's just on the nose. It's chocolate and hazelnut. It's really cool. We look forward to seeing some of you who got into the dinner on Wednesday night. We look forward to seeing you. It's going to be a fun night at the over at the Porterhouse. We'll probably announce sometime after that the next dinner. This one sold out already, and so we look forward to seeing folks there. And we also have the Ron Bauer. Again, that's going to start at 7:30 on the 25th. And we have Charlotte from the winery joining us. So it's going to be a fun night. And folks who might be watching the show and did The Prisoner with us, your wines are going to be available tomorrow for pickup. Anybody who is buying any wines from this show tonight will be picking these up at 4:00 on Wednesday. They'll be available. Obviously, for some of you who are drinking with us and eating with us you can come on Thursday or Friday or Saturday to come pick up your wines. No big deal, but it'll be available. Thank you so much for tuning.
Picture of the charcuterie board.
I will. I cannot. I can have to hold up my phone. That's the only way to do it. Tanya sent me the photos, and I never had a chance to. But I did make a really nice charcuterie board. I'll have to show it to you this way.
That's not Photoshop, guys.
That's not Photoshop. That was my
from the internet.
That was my board.
That's just a Monday night here at the Mackey's.
That's a Monday night. I'm
how they
dinner.
Roll. That's how they roll.
That's how we roll for dinner.
If you guys happen to just be in the neighborhood and knock on the door, there's a good chance they have some fancy 10-year-old Manchego. You're like, do you also have a nice Chianti? Well, only a Chianti Classico Reserve if you like it, sir. It's like, do you have a coffee mug? Well, I have a Riedel, you know. So,
we're all drinking out of Riedel.
Come on over to the McKay's anytime. You're like as Tanya's kicking me over here. So
yeah.
So so guys, I mean, I think one thing we've learned is Italy, land of wine, land of grapes. I mean, they make way more better wines than they do bad wines. They go so well with food. They're cocktail. I mean, they're wines that you can drink by themselves. They don't necessarily need to be paired with anything specifically. So that's one thing I'm almost invigorated and learned by when I go through the Italian delve like we did tonight. So really fun stuff.
Well, thank you so much again. Next week, same Batman time, same Batman channel. We're going to be talking about varietals that we're drinking, that we think you should be drinking right now, which will be a lot of fun. And TC, as always, you want to sign us
So
off?
for the lovely Vanna and for Mr. Danny, this is TC saying, keep on tasting. Arrivederci.
Ciao.